What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, July 31st, 2018. We are live as always on YouTube, simulcasting as always over on GunChannels.com. For those of you that are not quite sure what GunChannels.com is, crawl out from under the rock in which you live. There is the link over there. Come check us out. It's a great community that G-Web started about 5 years ago. I call it the water cooler of the Second Amendment. It's a great place. We have 24-hour live lobby chats. If you have questions about anything about gun-related, there's usually somebody on there 24/7 that can answer those questions. Most of your creators and show hosts that you are already watching, most of us are already over there. So come check us out at GunChannels.com. Once again, it's a great community, and thanks to G-Webs for starting that up 5 years ago. We really enjoy it. If you're watching this in replay, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. After this goes live, we will put the audio over on PodBean and iTunes, and we are now on iHeartRadio. We will also take this podcast, the video and audio, and put it over on GunStreamer.com. We'll also probably put it over on GunTube.org, which is a nice platform created by one of our Gun Channels brothers. That mic is killing me, bro. Does it sound bad out there? Hold on. Is it bad? Let me unplug, I guess. Hold on. I guess we're saying my mic is bad. Does it sound bad to you guys?
A little scratch to it.
Is it really?
Got a little scratch.
Huh, that's interesting. Let me try to figure something out here.
It's
That's
probably
one of the, Is that better at all or no?
it's loud and clear, but it's like it's almost like a physical connection, huh? Like a clicking.
Huh.
Scratching.
All right, hold on here. All right, is that any better? Let me turn down Is that better? I turned down a little on the mixer.
Still hearing it a little bit.
Okay, well, screw it. We're going to run with it. Anyways, guys, I want to thank, Ghost Practical. Yeah, appreciate you there, Tardot. Anyways, let's go check out on the Gun Channel side. You got G-Webs, the Pants, Gary Gizzard, the Gun Snobs over there. Over on the YouTube side, it's a rocking crowd that's been going on for quite some time. If you're over there on the YouTube side and you haven't said anything in the chat, we don't know you're there. So go ahead and say hello. If it's your first time to the show, welcome to the show. Please tell us where you are. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put it out there. If you have questions that you want asked, there's two ways of getting it done. First one is to tag myself or someone on the panel to ask the question, and hopefully we'll see it and get it answered. If you want to make sure it gets through, go ahead and email us at live@ghosttactical.us. That will come straight to the email inbox, and we will go from there. So let's say hello to the chat out there. Let's see some shout outs. You got Mohawk Boy out there, Midnight Range TM. You got Stealth Hunter. They were kind of going back and forth for a while. The only two out there, so they had a nice little combo going. Let's see here. Let's scroll down. You got the Gun Snobs out there. Jeff Tack, who's also in here. Let's see here. Now let's get down. That was all pre-show. Gun-loving Grandpa Stanley. What's up, Buck? Let's see here. Gunpowder Beauties out there. 37 Money Train. 37 Money Train says, can't wait. First time watch them. Welcome, my friend, to Ghost Tactical. Welcome to the show. We hope you enjoy it. And throw some questions out there. We'd love to hear some questions from you. Let's see here. Goodness gracious. Y'all had some conversation. Gizzard Gary is out there. Mr. Big Kid's out there. I think I sent him a link. If you want to jump in, you can. Nate's out there. What's up, Nate? All right. Trying to catch up here. 37 Money Train says, we mean snap-on wrench. You mean snap-on wrenches. Yeah, it's a blue party out there right now. There's a lot of wrenches out there, so watch yourself now. Watch yourself. David Bowling's out there. What's up, David? They're talking about Surefire out there right now. They were earlier. Sorry, Scotsman's out there. D-Temp's out there. Guitar Man Pete's out there. Tardot's out there. Scott P's out there. Patrick Pew Pew, what's going on, my man? Calaveras 32 Special. The Tactical Pickle is in the house. Guns and Glory, what's going on, my man? John Brown Productions, JBP. Outsider 503, what's up, brother? I think I said D-Temp, I'm not sure. WB's out there. Phil M. Rivers is out there. The Tactical Troll Daddy's out there. Georgia Truckers out there. Coffee and Guns and Ammo Astronomy is out there. Might be the best name out there right now. That's a mouthful. Garcia's out there. Sandy's out there. Sandy, I was going to send Sandy a link, and he says, I have nothing to offer on this chat, so he's going to sit out this one. So Sandy's out there. Too hotty. I know I'm kind of crackly. I don't understand what's going on. I've unplugged it. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try to maybe turn down the microphone a little bit on the mixer. That might help. I don't know. If that helps at all, let me know. Sorry. I apologize. I'm not really sure. I've unplugged everything. There's no telling. There is no telling. It's, as we like to say, this is amateur hour on the we're not high class like Clover and all these guys. So we are definitely amateur hour. Speaking of which, let's run through the room real quick and say hello to the esteemed panel, and we'll kick it off here in a minute. From South Carolina, he's not here. I thought he was going to be here, but I guess Ellis is not here. Okay, well, from Ohio, we have the crazy Scotsman. What's up, Scotsman?
Not much, man. Appreciate the link as always. Good to be here. Hope you guys are doing well.
Always, always, always. And from Phoenix, Arizona, we've got Steven with Mr. Big Kid. What's going on, my man?
Not much. Thanks for having me again. Looking forward to it. I do have my son here with me today, so there's a good chance that he busts in and
love it. You got to do what you got to do, man. I love it.
First.
What's his name?
Ben.
What's up, Ben? How you doing, bro? Good having you tonight, Ben.
That's right. He's 3 years old, but he'll be on this channel. He's actually watching YouTube downstairs right now. So,
all right. Well, there you go.
That's right.
From San Antonio, Texas, we've got a newcomer to the show, and it's a channel that I kind of did a shout out with a couple weeks ago. Really good content. If you're not haven't subscribed to him yet, go check him out. We got Jeff with Jeff Tactical, and that's GEOFF Tac on YouTube. But Jeff, how's it going, my man?
Good, man. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate that.
Oh, glad having you. Glad having you on here to show. We got the man, the myth, the legend from Arizona, the creator of GunChannels and the big dog himself, the OG of the gun community G-Webs, the man of many words. What's going on, my man?
Hey, thanks for the invite.
There you go. I'm waiting for it. I love it. And we had to put up with this guy. I don't know how he continues to get links. I don't send them out to him very often. He just seems to show up somehow. He's down in Texas. He's known as a tactical leprechaun. I guess we'll have to say hello to Clover Tech. What's up?
Ninja skills, baby.
Ninja skills. Is that what it is? All right.
Oh, man, I was supposed to get the link.
All right. Before we get kicked off real quick, as always, I'd like to start with a little public service announcement. So hold on to your britches, and here we go with the first one.
Hey, Ghost Squad. This is Sky. At Ghost Tactical, we understand the rising tensions across America regarding guns and gun control. It is more important than ever to be vigilant about our Second Amendment rights. We encourage everyone to stay informed and contact your local, state, and federally elected officials to make sure they are hearing your voice. They represent you, and without your input, their votes may be vulnerable to outside influences. We ask that you actively support any gun rights organizations such as Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, Firearm Policy Coalition, and even the National Rifle Association. We understand you may not agree with all the politics involved with some of the organizations, but we encourage you to keep up with and support as many as you can.
And there you go. So we're going to start talking tonight real quick about AR platforms. Not necessarily a specific caliber, but the platform itself. There's a lot of people that I know around here, they're asking about ARs and trying to want to get into the game a little bit, or they have an AR and they're asking about different modifications and accessories and all of that stuff. So I thought tonight would be a good topic to really kind of start talking about the AR platform, trying to kind of dispose some of the things about it being a weapon of war, and kind of talk about different ways the AR platform can be utilized in your life. And depending on how you're going to utilize that platform, what are some good mods and accessories that you might want to make to it? And then maybe ones you might want to stay away from, depending upon what you're looking for. We have had some more people jump in real quick. So let's say hello to a few of them out there. Zippy has joined. Yeah, I know I'm kind of crackly. Zippy's joined the club. HBO Matt, what's up, my man? I think I said Garcia out there earlier, but if not, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while, until a couple days ago, but welcome back, Garcia. Philo's out there. Rob C. Hemi, what's up, Hemi? You know, Hemi, I got to give a shout out to Hemi. My very first, next week will be my 52nd episode of Tactical Tuesday. So I've missed a couple here and there because of SHOT Show and different things. But as far as episode-wise, it would be my kind of 1 year episode anniversary. Hemi was there on the very first Tactical Tuesday when I think I had 3 viewers. One of them was my guest wife. One of them was one of my good friends at home, and one was Hemi. So Hemi has literally been here since day one. So I want to give a special shout out to Hemi, and thank you for always supporting and all of that. So I really, really do appreciate you. Let's see, Frankie C. What's up, Frankie? How you doing, sweetheart? Mike Sykes is out there. Guys, if you haven't checked out Frankie C's channel or the Gun Gals, go check them out. It's a great platform, a great channel. Really doing a good job of bringing women to the table, talking about their everyday experiences. And it's not just about guns, but if you go out and check out Gun Gals, all of the 4, I think Arminthia, Jesse, and Liz, and Frankie, they're all doing a series right now where they're asking or answering questions that are sent in from the viewers and kind of getting to know them. So go check them out. It's a really, really great one. Doc's in the house. Obnoxious ones out there. I carry my revolver in single action is out there as well. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to kind of run through the room real quick and just talk about, answer the question is, you know, do you like making modifications to your ARs when you have one or when you build one? What kind of mods do you like to put in, first of all? And do you like adding accessories like some optics or scopes or lights or, you know, lasers or anything like that? Before we start jumping into the nitty-gritty, let's just kind of run through the room real quick and let's find out. We'll start with Scotsman. Scotsman, when you're building one or you're purchasing an AR, are you prone to make specific modifications or automatically add accessories to your ARs right off the bat?
No, I mean, right off the bat, I like to shoot iron sights and kind of see how the gun's going to perform. And then from there, I'll decide what kind of optic I want to throw on there. I usually throw an optic on, but I want to see how the gun's going to perform first off. Right. And then go from there.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm a big fan of iron sights to begin with, though. So, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Steve, what about you?
Well, to be honest, I like to do a couple of basic things. Most of the ARs I have actually built. So, you know, just put together. And that's what I love so much about ARs is that they're so modular. It's like mix and match parts, pretty much whatever you want. Otherwise, optics are the biggest thing. I do like to use the M-Lock rails. But I don't put a whole lot of furniture on the ARs. But I think always, you know, a nice optic, maybe an angle foregrip, something. It all depends on the application, I guess.
Yeah. So, yes. And we'll get into that exact topic right there. Is some people like foregrips, some people don't. Some people like the vertical foregrip, some like the angled. And like you said, it really depends on what you're going to be using it for. So yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. G, when you're talking ARs, I know you're probably more of an AK guy, but on ARs, are you kind of keep it simple, stupid, or are you like adding all the tactical stuff?
No, I just have I mean, nobody has a standard AR, so I have, like everybody said, started with, you know, the parts, and I like 16-inch rifle length, mid length, and then put optics on it. So just iron sights and a light, important, and a sling. And I like to throw a second mag on there sometimes.
Yeah. Now I know that I'm saying this facetiously, but I know you're a big 3-point sling guy. So right, so your sling's gonna be definitely a 3-point sling.
Correct. Not a 3-point. Definitely not a single point ever. Oh, and I guess I just go for hand stuff. I'm not a fan of any kind of bird grip or angled anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Jeff, what about you? When you start thinking about a build, or if you've just gone and purchased one, do you take some time before you start adding accessories, or in your mind you kind of already know what that build or that purchase is going to be used for?
Yeah, man. So I brought out some of my guns. The first thing I'm looking for in a gun is making the gun comfortable for me. So I brought out, a handguard is probably one of the very first things. An optic, having a good optic. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So, being able to get it up and get it into your, get that sight picture so you know what you're shooting at. That's absolutely important. Also, I'm big on lights. Every gun I have just about has some kind of light modification on it. I use a lot of them for home defense, that kind of thing. I don't do a lot of competition shooting, so just having it comfortable for me, home defense, tactical kind of configurations are what I'm after.
Yeah, and like you said, what we're gonna try to do here also is talk about different applications. Like I said, we talked pre-show. Being an AR platform rifle being used for hunting is going to be set up much different with a loadout than it is for a truck gun or home defense or something like that. So we're going to go in there and let's see here. Is everything sounding okay and all that out there so far? Before I get to Clover real quick, I want to bring up a couple. Garcia out there says that his mod is the M-lock rail or a keyhole system for the fire end to add lights and other attachments, and yes, he likes to mod his guns. Doc out there says he really likes Rise armament drop-in triggers. David says he's too impatient to build a rifle, and he got told that he can build a complete rifle in an hour. If you know what you're doing, yeah, if you're like me, and probably not. Guns and Glory says light, optic, and sling. And that's the basic setup for him. Let's see here. Stealth Hunter out there says iron sights, sling. Let's see here. Iron sights, sling first. Second is the light, and the third would be optics or other things. Guns and Glory says light, optic, sling. I'm trying to see here if I can get down. Oh, D-Temp says he's got to run. D-Temp, we'll see you later, my man. Have a good one. Let's see here. Ambi bolt release makes the mag changes faster for right-handed shooter. I'm going to get to Clover here in a second. I like to put him off in the corner as long as I can. Ambidextrous stuff on certain guns I really like. The problem I have on other guns, and it's not every one of them, but there are some platforms that ambidextrous, whether it's safeties or anything like that, or bolt releases or whatever, there's sometimes maybe too many moving parts inside the internal workings. So some platforms, they work really nicely. Sometimes the ambidextrous stuff is more of a nuisance than anything else. But yeah, I know what you're saying. They do help in certain situations. So it all depends. For me, it all depends on the gun. Clover, what about you, my man? When it comes to the AR platform, I know you got a bunch of different calibers and all that, and we're not going to talk about calibers quite yet, but just in general, I know you're more of a build guy, so let me ask you this, start off this. When you're building something, are you, in your mind, do you already have the finished project in your mind of how you want it to look at the end, or do you build it and then start adding different stuff?
No, it's, well, yeah, first let me start off by saying I've got one out-of-the-box AR. The very first one. Everything after that is a build. And I pretty much have a theme design. It's usually either purpose driven or it's inspiration driven, right? One of the two. So for example, the whatever, I've got a threaded blackout. pistol. Let's say that would be purpose driven. There was a reason I built that, and then but for example, my XM177 copy would be inspiration driven, right? Because I was looking to copy something or whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of customization that goes on, but all of that is thought out beforehand because you don't want to order a bunch of parts you're not going to use, right?
Yeah. Let's kind of start this off because I know there are people that out there watching and have asked a lot in the last recent times about, and even on different chats. There's a chat that maybe you were on, maybe it was one of your chats. I'm not sure, Clover, you'll remember, but someone was talking about what's a good kind of a budget AR to get into if you really don't have a lot of money, but you do want to get into the platform. And obviously, if you're able to for maybe $400 or $500, then you can probably go on PSA and a lot of different websites and build one. But if you're not mechanically inclined like myself, and that might be difficult to do, then there are some brands out there that are decent for the price and all of that. I want to start with Clover. And we know we have Diamondback, we have DPMS, we have several different companies that would be considered maybe budget ARs. But do you have a recommendation for someone out there that's going to buy off the shelf for the first AR, but doesn't have a ton of money to really go custom everything and all that? It's just going to be a nice solid frame, a nice solid upper and all that. Is there a brand that you maybe want to recommend for someone who's looking to get into the platform?
I would three come to mind with me, and I mean there's tons out there. Like you said, a lot of the PSA stuff's really popular. Wyndham and several others. Diamondback you mentioned. The three for me that would be my go-to if I was going to buy off the shelf probably again would be probably DPMS, Bushmaster, Smith & Wesson in that order, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. All three good choices. Jeff, what about you? Do you have a suggestion for the AR newbie that might have, let's say, $500-$600, but is, wanting a good solid platform?
Yeah, so I would. So for uppers, there's a couple of companies I look at. There's a company called 22 Mods for All. They sell complete uppers, and they're usually running a $199 sale. Also, Bear Creek Arsenal is a pretty good company. I just built a gun with them, and their upper has been pretty good. And then another one's Radical Firearms. They're out of Houston. So if you've ever gone to Primary Arms site, they usually will sell a lot of Radical Firearms uppers. As far as lowers go, Palmetto State Armory sells complete lowers. I think that's already been mentioned a few times. And then you can usually find people who've pre-assembled, like the Anderson Armory strip lowers. They'll assemble it with basic part kits and that kind of thing. They're really not that hard to do. I mean, if you can watch a YouTube video, you could probably put one together.
Yeah, I'm trying to read some comments out here. Revolver out there says he can't remember who it was, but somebody made a video saying the AR-15 is not a platform, and he pretty upset when people call it a platform. AR-15, you can call what you want. I call the AR platform because you have 22, you have AR-10s. I mean, the AR, and it's not assault rifle, people. We all know that it's armor light rifle, but the AR, I call the AR platform. I don't necessarily call the AR-15 platform because there are different, classifications of people want to get technical about it, but it is what it is. People are going to call it what it is. The AR platform is whatever. G, what about you? You've been around these for a long time. Have you had some good experiences with some quote unquote budget companies?
I only have the one AR because I'm not that into them. So I bought it with insight from people and from going to classes and watching people run them. So I bought BCM upper. I don't know what my I think my lower is probably a stag, and because it's old, I wouldn't buy anything cheap ever. I would buy once, cry once, especially if you're planning on using the gun. But if you're planning on buying a bunch of Harvey doll guns, then buy whatever you want.
Yeah. Steve, what about you?
Well, my first AR was a DPMS Panther 15, and it was really it was a good AR. I never had any issues with it. I didn't shoot it that much. I put a few hundred rounds through it, but ever since I had my first AR, I've just been building all of my ARs. The lowers really aren't that difficult to put together. There's, you get your parts kit, and then you end up watching a YouTube video, and it's so step by step. I don't even have the proper tools to do it, but I have tools that will work. So I do have a torque wrench. That's important. But DPMS, I've had great, I've had great experience with them. I really don't have any issues.
Yeah. Real quick before I get to Scotsman, there are a lot of PSA love out there. Now, Guns and Glory says BCM. I will admit, Bravo is a good company. I would not necessarily call Bravo as a budget level, entry level gun. Bravo can get they can get very expensive. They've got stuff that's over $1,000 and all of that, very easily over $1,000. So no, BCM is really good. I wouldn't necessarily call it a budget level gun. Yeah, a lot of MMP love, a lot of PSA love. Wyndham's been mentioned several times. Let's see here. MMP for about $450. Are they around $450 now? Wow, I didn't realize they were down. I've got a couple of them. They're usually around $600, but if they're down to $450, I might have to go look because I know Clover is a huge Smith & Wesson fan, so I might have to give him one for Christmas if they're $450. He might throw that thing away. I don't know. Let's see here.
I'll absolutely take it.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm going to get to Scotsman first. Scotsman, what about you? Any recommendations on brands or anything that might be a really good kind of entry-level AR for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience or any experience with the platform at all?
If you're not looking to spend a whole ton of money, I don't think anyone mentioned Delton, but Delton you can find for about $350 to $400 usually. They're not bad. I wouldn't for something to plan on yourself. But getting into the platform itself, yeah, not a bad gun.
If you're going to take it to their range and just kind of get used to firing an AR, yeah. I mean, is that what you're saying? Is this not necessarily for defense, but just kind of go out there and have fun with it?
Yeah. Just it's more of a plinker and getting used to the platform.
Right. Let's see here. Brent says that BCM is a budget high-end AR. Budget high-end. That's an interesting way of saying it. That could be something that's true. A budget high-end. That's pretty funny how you said that. Let's see here. A lot of Anderson lower love. Lead Life says, Bikes and Bullets is in the house. Road Call's in the house. What's going on? Brent Winkle, Atypical Jake's out there. Keith Gregory's out there. Little Rock 2517 must be in Arkansas. And what's up, my man? Woo Pig. He says MMP Sport 2. That being said, I will go ahead and I didn't bring both of them, but I did bring one of the MMPs. This is the MMP Sport 2. Chamber 223 Remington 556, whatever you want to call it. I've got a fixed stock with CQR fixed stock on here. I've got a little optic there. I'm not. I don't know if you guys can. There we go. There is the fixed stock right there. Anyways, I'm not a real big fan of foregrips and all that stuff. I kind of like to keep mine relatively simple. Let's see here. Brent says MMP on sale can be had for $450. That still freaks me out. Lead Life says he has 4 PSA uppers. 2 of them are 18-inch, one's 10.5, and one is 16 on Anderson lowers. Let's see here. No problems out of any of them. Good to go for the money. Yeah, was it Christmas time? Anybody jump in? I think it was Christmas time that PSA was with the Anderson lowers. I'm not really sure what the upper was, but you could probably get a complete build for about $350, and they were just going ballistic. The Bushmaster, what was that? They had one that was like on sale for like 10 minutes. What was that? With like $249 or something like that. It was insane, and I think it was a mistake. They only had like 10 of them, but it went in there. Revolver says Omni Hybrid. The CQ stock is. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What do you guys worry about sales at PSA? Don't you just call Night Strike and you get your stuff?
You know, I think Night Strike probably has his own little PSA. He said he's got so many different lowers and all these uppers, but yet he doesn't ever put them together. So if you are looking for lowers, Night Strike might be the person to talk to, because not only could you get a lower from a fellow gun channel brother, but maybe the money that you would spend on getting it from Night Strike would maybe go towards GunTube.org, which could help out the process as well. For me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
They have those like Walmarts, or I mean those McDonald's in the Walmarts, those little like, you know, McDonald's kind of stuck in the front by where the carts are.
Yeah, I think Night Strike just stuck a tin up right in front of the PSA shop.
Well, I was gonna say PSA's got a little shop like that in his basement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think he spent quite a bit. What's up, Mateo? He's got several Anderson lowers, no problems in him. Yeah, I mean, you hear things from different people. I've never had an Anderson lower, but you hear things that maybe they're not always the most trustworthy lowers. But, you know, when you're talking about lowers, you know, unless you're using it for something very, very specific, if you're just looking to get into it, you know, these Anderson lowers you can get for less than $50. You know, I think at one point they're down like $30 during the Christmas time frame. But, you know, the lowers, this is my opinion, I'll get you guys' opinion on this. The lower is not really what I'm really interested in. I want to make sure that you got a pretty solid upper, a nice bolt carrier group. So a couple companies that I want to talk about real quick is I've had a DPMS before. It's okay, not bad. I've owned 4 or 5. I only have a couple left, but I've owned 4 or 5 of my time of Core, C-O-R-E, and Core makes a pretty good AR, and it's kind of like maybe a mid-level range. It may not be a budget, but it's that $600 to $800 range. And obviously, I'm a big fan of the M&P Sport, except for the AR-10 that I shot at SHOT Show. I snapped off 3 trigger pulls on that, and 2 of them had catastrophic malfunctions. So that AR-10 that they were using, I'm assuming it was probably maybe a mag problem. But that one I did not like. But I've got 2 of them right now, and I've never had a problem with the M&P Sport. And if you can get them for $450, that might be as good as is out there right now for the quality. Now I know that Clover might not agree with that, but it is what it is. And Guitar Man says the bolt carrier group and barrel is what makes an AR. Exactly. You get yourself a good barrel and a good BCG. You know, you can kind of slap those on, for the most part, whatever lower you want. And like I said, depending on the time of year, you can get a nice lower for anywhere from $30, $35. But most of the time, you can get a nice solid one for, I mean, pretty much year round. You can find a nice solid lower for less than 50, probably around 40 most of the time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about different calibers for someone who's starting in. And I know that the 22 may probably be a big one, obviously the 5.56, but I know that I'm going to jump around. But Jeff, I know you've got one here, and I'm a big fan, and so is G. I'm a huge fan of the 7.62 round. I know that you've got an AR there that is chambered at 7.62. And, you know, what I want to talk about is when you're starting out on a build, and did you build a 7.62? And if so, did you build it because you did not want the AK platform? You want an AR chambered in 7.62, or how did you come across the idea of this rifle?
Right. So here it is for you. I'm running a primary arms 1-6 on it. This is the 7.62 300 blackout. So I was looking for, you know, something a little bit bigger caliber in the 30 caliber range. So I was looking at the 7.62 or the 300 blackout, and what I decided to do was both. I did both of them. The 300 blackout is mainly my wife's gun. We got a 300 blackout and a 10-inch pistol. So we're still working on that one. It's not quite complete. I do have several AKs. I like the AK platform, but the AR-15, you know, the caliber diversification, I do like the AR-15. I know this is going to annoy some people. The platform, I like the platform for the modularity. The AK is good. It's a good solid system for delivering, you know, freedom, so to speak. But building out these guns in the AR the AR framed. That's something I enjoy doing. 7.62 is one. 300 blackout is one. I've also got a 22 conversion, the CMMG conversion. I got that several years ago. When we had the ammo shortage, I think it was in 2012. It was really handy to have the 22 conversion for taking the gun out and doing plinking and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's about it for calibers in the AR system.
Okay, Clover, I know that you've got several calibers in ARs. If you were going to talk about someone that was kind of getting into the AR platform and may not have a whole lot of experience in the platform, whether it's any caliber, 223 or 30 caliber or whatever, what's a good solid caliber that you would recommend to someone that is just kind of getting into it?
If it's your first AR, I think you go 5.56 or 223 Wild.
Yeah, and I know Calaveras was out there, and you and I'm a big 5.56 fan, as you guys know, and I know that you made a mention out there that the Wild is a little more.
The Wild takes advantage of the perks of both the 5.56 and the 223. Takes advantage of the perks with angling as well as free bore. And really, I mean, you're not going to really notice the difference for the most part, but it's probably going to be a little more reliable when it comes to ammunition.
Yeah. And it's really, I know that I know you've got 458 SOCOM, you've got a 300 blackout. I know you were also talking about possibly kind of go and get your stamp and maybe possibly SBR in that. Is that something that you were still thinking about?
Yeah,
doing?
the 458 needs to be cut. Yeah, the can on it, that's a Form 1 can. It's 10 inches. I'm a short dude, and you don't need 16 inches. Yeah, you don't need 16 inches for a stupid 458 SOCOM. So it needs to be chopped. It needs to be chopped 10 inches. Screw the can on. I got 20 inch. I can handle that, and I'm done. Yeah. So that's the reason more than anything. I mean, chopping it to 10 is not really going to affect much out of that. You get about your max with 458 out of 10 anyway. So yeah, why not take advantage of the length? But yeah, that's we go down the whole rabbit hole with that, which I don't want to go down. But yeah, a favorite caliber. I mean, if we're talking alternative calibers, Blackout Life all day long. I mean, I don't recommend that for your first, and honestly, I don't really recommend that probably unless you're willing to at least entertain the idea of reloading. But the versatility in the Blackout, I mean, I'll say it over and over and over again. What other caliber can you go from a 90 grain projectile to a 265 grain projectile? There is none.
Now, how do you feel? What's up? Clay's out there. You said the bad crackle. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. I'm trying. I've unplugged everything. It might be a YouTube thing. I'm not really sure. I apologize. Sam Stoll's out there. He said, what in the world?
God complex going on.
I got an echo out there. Anybody hearing that?
Is it because I just joined in the
what's up, Sean? Yeah. It's my brother from another mother from back in Dallas. He shows up and I start getting echo. So let's say hi, everybody. Sean, he's a buddy of mine that I grew up with in Dallas. He is running for Congress in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. He's also interested in a topic that we might get into a little bit about 3D printing and all that. But what's up, Sean? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Living the dream, my man. Living the dream. Let me turn your volume up a little bit. There you go. Yeah, everything's good. We're just kind of talking about kind of ARs for beginners right now. I'm surprised that no one's kind of said 22 at this point. Let's go to Scotsman. Scotsman, what do you think for a really kind of a newbie to the AR platform? 223, 556 kind of seems to be the one. It's probably obviously the most popular. But is that something that you would go to, or is there another caliber you think about?
22 is not bad, but honestly, 556 itself, there's not a whole lot of kick to it, so I'd have to go 556. Honestly, it's all about making sure you teach them right on how to hold the gun, line up their sights, and all that good stuff. Other than that, there's really no recall to it, so no issue with a 556.
Sure. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, to be honest, 5.56 is just a great starter round. My favorite AR right now that I built is based off of 5.56, and I'll give you guys a little demonstration of it.
There you go. I'm gonna lock in on you about that.
Let's see. So this is actually a budget build. It's not low quality, but it's budget because I actually bought most of the components for the upper on Black Friday. This barrel I got for under $100, and it's a stainless fluted 18-inch rifle length gas barrel. Stag 3G compensator. This APF foregrip was not cheap, so this is not very budget. But otherwise, we got a spikes upper, spikes lower, and a lower parts kit, and hook grip going on right here, and just a stock, nothing fancy, mil spec stock. So I do have a Strike Eagle, a Vortex Strike Eagle, 1-6. But overall, this gun shoots great, very low recoil. ARs, I guess, were built around the 5.56 or 223. So I feel like, you know, that's what they are meant for. So if you're going to go for your first AR, I'd say get it what it's meant for. Get it in the 5.56 and, you know, see how you like it, and then you could change. I also have a 7.62 AR. It's been great. I just think the magazines are a little funky, but I mean, besides for that, I haven't actually had a bad AR yet. On my wall back there, I have a basic A2, like a standard AR. But again, what's the best thing about ARs is how modular they are.
You have a carry
handle?
It's good man. Good man.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the carry handle brings back memories to the Marine Corps days, so I'll do that. Let's get real quick and answer some questions. Guitar Man Pete says, can y'all discuss budget versus versatility on AR optics? Optics was going to be something we probably ought to talk about. Let's go ahead and knock it off. And at this point, guys, we'll kind of open the room up so you don't have to wait to be called on. What I would say is this. You can go and spend anywhere from, I mean, literally $50 all the way up to several $1,000s on optics. It all depends on what you're going to be using that rifle for. If you're going to be using it for a hunting rifle, that you're going to need some crazy magnification. If you're trying to reach out like a 6.5 Creed, you're going to reach out over 1,000 yards. Yeah, you're going to need a nice optic, a nice scope out there. If you're talking red dots or reflex sights, or just a normal 4x scope, you can find them for as little as $50 all the way up to, like I said, a couple thousand. I think that you could probably sit there and say, I'll open this up to the room, but to find a nice, solid, we're talking like a Bushnell, obviously the Vortex are great, but, Bushnell's got some really good optics you can find for a couple $100, maybe even less, depending on a sale item or something. But let's run through the room real quick, and let's start. Well, hell, let's start with Scotsman real quick if you want to, unless everyone just wants to jump in. But what are some good quote-unquote budgetary optics that you can get for your AR, and are they worth spending that less money on versatility? Going to end up buying a new one pretty soon. And let's start with Scotsman unless somebody else wants to jump in.
I'd have to say budget-wise, Bushnell TRS 25, those things are super cheap, super easy. It's really going to depend on what you plan on using it for. But budget-wise, I'd go with that one.
Right.
One of the I want to jump in real quick. Sorry about that. So one of the things that I have a pet peeve about, and I seem to see it everywhere on the YouTube gun channels, is the primary arms optics. Now I own several of the Burris and their lifetime warranty.
I personally have not ever owned one, so I would be speaking out of my ass if I told you anything different. But I'm sure someone out here in the panel, someone out in the chat probably has, but I have not. Primary is it's not something that I've ever owned.
Yeah, so I'm big in the variable optics, right? So the the 1-4, 1-6, 1-8. Those are, I think, kind of the best of both worlds. So when I'm looking at those kinds of optics, Vortex and Burris both have lifetime warranties on their optics. and the prices on them are fairly reasonable. I think you're getting pretty good glass, good construction, and then the warranty, I think, is the best in the industry when it comes to those budget type optics. Primary Arms, their reticle is really nice. It's got a good bullet drop calculator on their reticle. Gets a lot of press in the on the YouTube gun channels, the bigger channels. They seem to be everywhere right now, and it just, when I look at that warranty and I compare what they're offering with the warranty, 1-year warranties on them, it really just kind of grates my nerves.
Yeah, there's some talk out there about the Nikon. Nikon makes it really good. For me, this is, Vortex is, most people are going to sit there and put Vortex on top of the pedestal. For me, the most success that I have, like I said, I'm not a real big optic scope guy, because I don't hunt. So for me, getting this nice high-end powered scope at 9 times is not something I'm going to need. The scopes that I have will probably be no more than 4 times. So that's just me. But for my money, yeah, Vortex is great. But for my money, the best ones I've had for the money is Bushnell and Nikon for sure. I can honestly vouch for. I personally have never had an issue with any of them. They've been very versatile. You can bang them to hell. You can get them if they're under warranty. You can get them fixed or whatever. The customer service at Bushnell is phenomenal. So I mean, if you need anything, I actually had one time that came in and it was a little glitchy. I called them. They said, absolutely, I will send you another one. I said, we want to do this other one. He says, keep it. If it works sometime for you, great. If not, we apologize. Here's a new one. So I basically had two scopes for the price of one, which is great. I can't suggest more a Nikon or a Bushnell. Bushnell is probably for me for that $200 to $300. You can even get them from less than $200. It depends on which model and what time of year. But with that $200 to $250 range, you can't really go wrong with those.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm watching the comments too, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm bashing on Primary Arms. I've been to their store. I've got 3 of their optics, but I have had a 30mm red dot that after like 10, 11 months, it busted on me, and I sent it back, and they wouldn't replace it. So that's kind of what left a bad taste in my mouth with them. I know they're modifying their warranty, and they're getting bigger and more exposure, so they're modifying their warranties, but that not all of their optics are lifetime warranty, and not all of their warranties are transferable either. So read that fine print. Just a little PSA.
A little. I'm under no obligation. I just want to show. I got something. I'm doing a little unboxing as we speak. Something came in the mail today. This was sent to me to do a review on, and it's going to be interesting. It's Chinese. Not gonna lie. But it's a pretty cool little scope here. It's a 4x32. It is MA3TY. They sent me email, said, would you like to do a review on this? Sure, why the hell not? I'm not a big scope guy. I'll do a review on it, and I might even make this a little giveaway later on. But it's got red dot, blue dot, and green dot on it. Like I said, it's a 4x32. So what that means is it's a 32mm lens. 4 dot is 4 times the magnification for those of you that are not savvy on scope talk. But yeah, for me, it's not plastic. Nothing on here is really plastic except for maybe a couple of pieces. But it comes with rear sights and fiber optic. You can see the fiber optic also on there, so it's interesting. I for the size of it. And I think I saw this online. They're selling for like $45. So I'm going to put this through hell and back and see what kind of $45 scope it is. But if there's something like that and you're looking for a cheap one, I don't know. I'll let you know. The video, I just got this today, so the video will be coming down the line. You guys can wait for that, and I'll let you know if it's worth anything. But there's 100. Who was it out there? Someone says that I can't remember. I can go and find it. $120. Oh, the Romeo 5 is $120. It's very durable. It has a crisp 2 MOA dot. So that's another thing we're going to talk about is scopes versus red dots or reflex sights. And I would sit there and say, unless you're really wanting to go out and try to touch something at 500 to 1,000 yards, there's probably, no reason to go buy a scope. For me, I don't hunt. And if I did hunt here in Arkansas in the woods, I'm looking at a 50 to 100 yard shot maximum. If I'm going to put anything on there, I'm usually going to put a red dot because I'm going to use, most of my guns are for home and self-defense. So there's really no reason to go get a big scope that's going to magnify everything if you're going to be talking about a 30-foot shot, basically. So now I'm going to go through the Clover. I want to start with you for hunting, and we're talking specifically hunting. Is there something that is a relatively middle of the line to lower end that's a good quality scope that someone can look into get into if they're looking to hunt?
I'm not an optics snob at all, and I'll give an real world example of why. That most people, if you've ever been in the hunting section, sporting goods section of Walmart, you've seen the $79 or whatever it is center point scope. It's like a 416 44 maybe, something like that. Comes with the rings, right? That survived at least 20 rounds on a 50 BMG and probably at least 60 that it's been sitting on a 270 now. And I've had no issues. It hasn't fallen apart. It hasn't lost zero. So under most circumstances, unless you're rolling around in the dirt and going to war, most stuff's probably going to work for you. I mean, you're dealing with issues like battery life, for example, on a red dot. You're dealing with the size of the dot. What MOA is it? Is that optimal for whatever you're doing? Then when you move into the scopes, telescopic sights, let's say, then you start dealing with eye relief. Is that comfortable for you? You start dealing with the clarity of the glass. I mean, in low light situations, whatever you're able, are you able to see as you adjust the magnification? Are the crosshairs still clear enough to be able to see them? And that's all. That deals with people's eyes, and everybody's different, right? So I really don't get hung up. I'm a big fan of, low entry stuff around the $100 range. If you're hunting, you just can't hardly go wrong with a Bushnell for sure. But then a lot of times you can find some of the Barska stuff out there. I've got quite a few of those on hunting rifles. Now I wouldn't get the $50 Barska scope. I won't slum it quite that bad, but $100 range. Let's say a Barska, Mildot scope, Barska Hunter, something like that. I think the Mildots are the varmint scopes, is what they are. So the Hunter or the what do they call it? Can't even remember now. I think it's the Hunter series, and then the varmint series are pretty decent on that. And I mean, you're looking at around $100. The Bushnells, they're that way too. You can get into them around the $100 range for economically priced. So yeah, I mean, for hunting it, but again, I mean, just don't if you need an optic and you don't have $300 or $400 or $1,000 or whatever it is, just do a little homework on it. Discard the obvious people that are talking at their butt and they're only hating on it because they got more money than they got sense, and they can go out and drop $800 on a red dot. Discard those comments. Look at the actual people that have used them and what they've used them for. Again, it goes back into the same reason we build our ARs or whatever in the first place. A lot of times is for purpose. The purpose that it's going to be used for. Look at that. Make your decision and buy it. Don't let price or brand necessarily be a factor. That's where I come down on it.
Yeah, and you're talking about, let's just take the hunting side of things. If it's something that you've got an AR, let's say an AR-10 or something that's chambered in like 6.5 Creed that you like to go long distance shooting at the range, but you don't really hunt, and then your buddies say, hey, let's go hunt. Well, if that's going to be your only time to go hunt, there's no reason to go spend $1,000 on a scope. You can either borrow one from someone, get sighted in on your rifle, or you can just go and find something that, if you don't use it very often, you're not throwing an entire paycheck or 2 paychecks or 3 paychecks at an optic that you might not ever go hunting again. So, and I think you brought up a good point. It really depends on what you're looking for. Now, you're also talking about sometimes if it's going to be a rugged hunt, If you're going to be moving around a lot and be banging it and dropping it and all that, you obviously want a rugged scope that's not going to fail on the first drop. I would imagine that if you're going to go on a rugged hunt, you might not want to go spend $1,500 on a scope as well, because if you're prone to dropping stuff, you know, it is.
And that gets brought up all the time. I hear that. I hear it's got to be rugged. Got to be rugged. In reality, I get the argument.
You're rugged or not.
I get that argument. But in reality, how many people go hunting and, you know, Elmer Fudd drop the rifle 16 times on one hunting trip or smack it into trees all the freaking time? And who does that with their firearm?
They probably shouldn't be hunting if that's the case.
I would guess a very small percentage of people probably do that, because I care for my firearms regardless of whether I use them for self-defense or hunting or on the range or whatever. You know, I don't just beat them around willy-nilly. I'm paying attention to where they're at, how close they are to my body. Am I going to smack them into a tree if I'm going through the brush? You know, all of that kind of stuff. I'm paying attention to that. And I think most people probably do too. That firearm is an investment. You know, you spent several $100 on a firearm, and regardless of what optic you got on it, you're going to beat that thing around. I kind of doubt that. You know what I mean? Now, something I will throw out, because I just thought about it when you were talking about long range. Something that is really nice, and the price has come down on them, is first focal plane scopes. If you're running variable power, you know, variable power magnification, and especially you're talking about long range, and you want to be able to utilize that, that keeps your reticle consistent, regardless of whether you're zooming in or out, right? So, you know, if you can spring it and you can find, and I'll tell you, on my 308 that I got, that, I mean, it'll punch just almost the same hole at 300 yards. It's a pretty bad to the bone rifle. It wasn't cheap, but it's a Barska. I think they call it a benchmark, I think is the series they call it, first focal plane. And it wasn't cheap. It was a package deal with a rifle. I bought it all used, but at the time, I think that scope was going for about $500. But I mean, the closest first focal plane to it at the time was probably close to 1,000. So that was a quote unquote, you know, piece of garbage scope, right? And it's been wonderful. I haven't had any issues out of it again. So don't, you know, just weigh it against your purpose and what you're going to do.
And that's the whole point, is just because something costs more doesn't mean it's necessarily
it doesn't mean you're going to see the benefits of it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be worth that much more to you.
That's right.
It may be.
Marco out there saying that the difference between only using it a few times and that one time that it saves your life. That's true. At this particular time, we're talking about scopes. So,
well, I'm not going to have an optic that's saving my life. Okay,
that's right. That's what I'm talking about. Is we're talking about scopes for hunting.
Now, if you want to go down that road, I think you're probably better off not relying on it.
Yeah. You know, I'm talking about saving my life. It's going to be inside of, let's say, inside of a 20-yard shot. Much more outside of that, you're talking whether it's deadly force was in use or a need or not. But for me, I'm talking a red dot at the maximum. Most of the time, I'm probably going iron sights on that. That's just me. I might be different. Scotsman, red dots or scopes? You know, do you have experience in the budget ones, or do you like, depending on what you're looking for, do you recommend someone going out and spending that extra money first, or maybe getting a little inexpensive one to try to see if they even like an optic of any kind?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Clover. Clover brings up good points, man. If you're just looking for a budget one for hunting, I say go Vortex. Get in their crossfire line. It is probably the most budget-friendly entry level that is still going to have clear glass when you need it. I can go all the way through. I'm an optic snob, unlike Clover. So I can go through your base model stuff all the way up to the high end stuff and run you through all kinds of crap and everything. But I usually try to take the time with a customer and let them try to explain the basics that they need to know, because everything that I know, they don't need to know.
Right.
Their mind will go crazy.
Let's kind of move away from the once you Steve, you can. What I was going to say real quick is, aside from optics, we're talking foregrips, whether it's vertical or angled or lights or different attachments. What's something that you're kind of a snob about? If you're going to get something, you want to make sure you spend the money, and it can be optics and all that if you want to, but what's something that you're going to spend money on that's going to be a modification or an attachment to your AR that you're willing to spend the money on? Nope, we lose Steve.
Oh, sorry, I'm here, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna probably go with optic.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is not, and it's not even that I'm a huge snob, but I think one thing that's really important is something that'll hold a zero. So whatever you sight it into, you shoot a couple hundred times, couple thousand times, is it going to stay, or are you going to have to recite that in every time you want to use it? So if anything, you know, I think so I should refrain from, or let me go back a little bit. I have a buddy that has one of those Walmart center point scopes, and he's had it on his mounted to his Mini 14 for several years now and has no complaints at all. So when you're talking about, I mean, a scope that's under $50, $60 that's been taking care of you for a while, I think you can't really go wrong. I shoot with a Vortex Strike Eagle, and it's working just fine. But Vortex, really, I'm doing it for the warranty. So when something does go wrong, if it goes wrong, I know Vortex will take care of me.
Yeah. Now, Sean, I want to have you jump in here. Do you have an AR, or is this something you're looking to get into the platform, or do you have any questions for the panel or anyone like that? Sean might be, you're muted. He might only be here.
No,
all right, there he is. Yeah. Do you have an AR, or is this something you're looking to get into? Do you have any questions right now? Go for it.
I'm really just soaking it all in. I did buy one last year. Sadly, I haven't even had a chance to shoot it. Being in the burbs, I'm a little truck. However, we can talk about my trip to Arkansas in October anyway. Maybe I'll use it there. I did buy I've got a Springfield Armory Saint 5.56 is what I bought.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of when I talked to most of the gun shop guys around here, it was I guess as far as the quality sales pitch for Springfield, keeping control of their own components, and longevity and durability. It's, you know, the pitch was basically, if I go too much cheaper, I'm probably going to be disappointed. So yeah, I took enough input to where I felt like that was the right purchase at the time. And I also heard nobody will let me join a militia if I don't have one. So, you know, there's that.
The militias in Arkansas, I can tell you that is a requirement. So yeah, if you're looking to join the militia, you pretty much need to have either an AR or an AK for sure. Now let me ask you a question, Sean. Is what kind of got you into the thought process of getting your first AR? I mean, was there something that happened, or what was that process through?
Gun grabbing politicians.
There you go.
Things like one of my complaints is when I hear the NRA talk about hunting as their reason for anything, as if hunting has anything to do with the Second Amendment. And the growing number of people that continue to have mindsets similar to that. Yep. So I'm not gun. I feel like for me, guns are something that I should have as a responsible citizen, more so than my actual enjoyment of them. I go to the range because I want to be proficient with it, with my pistol. I keep the house pretty fortified. But the world we live in, it just seemed to be the wiser decision to go ahead and have them just in case.
Yeah. Now, Robbie out there on the gun channel side says that he found by simply changing the front sight to a thinner ball top style, accuracy increased drastically at long distances with everyone that shot their rifle, and most found no need for a scope after seeing the drastic change. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a iron sights guy. You know, that's just me. I don't hunt. I don't plan on taking that 1,000-yard shot. I would imagine if I was planning on doing 1,000-yard shots, I might look into more of a magnified scope or something like that. But for me, at most, I'm going to go with is probably a red dot. Chances are I'm going straight up iron sights on mine. Let's see here. G, I know that you said that you're a big fan of lights. On your AR, you said you had a light on there. Is that something, and I think I know the answer to this, but for people out there that are new to the game, you know, what kind of a price range do people need to look at for getting a decent quality light? Because we don't want to have a light that's going to turn off and fail. So you obviously probably want to spend a little more money, but what kind of money are most people going to be looking at to get a nice, you know, under rail light system?
Whatever a Surefire G2 costs. So
$100. So I mean, I would say 100, 125, 150 at the max. Wouldn't you think that you can get a really good solid rail light for about $100 or so, right?
Buy real products used. If you don't like paying full retail, just takes the other guy takes the depreciation.
Yeah, yeah. Now, when you get the light, is that more? Is there a reason why you make sure you have a light on your AR? Is that for, you know, being on the road so much, or is it for you know, home protection, or what? Or is there a reason why you like the light, or is that just something you've always had as a light on your rifles?
Because we're responsible for where our bullets go, and rifles shoot far, and usually shoot them outside. So, like, yeah,
that's the whole thing. Is I think everyone knows with me in a handgun situation, I do not like attached lights to my handguns. I would much rather have a light in my offhand that I could use because, you know, obviously sometimes in a home invasion, you have to look around corners that you necessarily don't want to be pointing the muzzle at. So I'm a big fan with handguns to have a detached light in my offhand or something like that and all that. On a rifle, being the weight is much different and the mass of the rifle, I think that if you're going to be using it for a truck gun or a home defense gun or anything like that, I think that an attached light under the rail or whatever would definitely be something to look at, because you're responsible, and the weight and the size of an AR is going to be something that very few people are going to be able to wield that thing single-handed. So yeah, I think that you're right. We are responsible for where our rounds go, and being that it's a bigger platform, I would definitely think that that is something that you want to look into. Jeff, it sounds like you do a lot of builds. Is there something, I want to go back to this. What is your first kind of modification or accessory that is important to you when you're first building your rifle?
Yeah, I'm focused mainly on the comfort of the rifle. So depending on the size, you know, if it's going to have, if it's going to be a pistol build, you know, what kind of brace am I going to put on there? What kind of hand stop? You know, I like, I have the BCM on the pistols, and I do run the vertical foregrips on all the rifles. So, you know, just the comfort and the way the gun sits in my body and how I hold that gun. That's my number one focus. And then the second addition that I'll put onto just about every gun is, you know, an optic, you know, some kind of optic, whether it be a red dot. I have several red dots. I heard you guys mention the Romeo 5. I believe those are made by HoloSun.
Times, yeah.
Yeah, those things are, man, they've got deals going on those things, and the standby time, you know, the wake on movement, the standby time on those is like 50,000 hours or some nonsense like that. So a good optic is another big one. And then I'm also for the weapon lights. I have weapon lights on just about every gun I own. All my pistols, you know, that I'm going to use, you know, the 4-inch high capacity pistols, and all of my home defense rifles, shotguns, everything has a light. Surefire, #1 light. I do have some other kinds of lights. Like I just found a deal on Amazon the other day for a Chinese branded light, 800 some odd lumens for $12. So those are good. You know, you're gonna keep it by the bed. You hear something. I had a dog get out the other night. So I needed something with a lot of beam in order to go find this, this pup. And I didn't want to carry my gun around to do that. So just having, a bunch of high lumens lights around the house is also something else that I do.
Yeah, so I want to go and make a comment that CloverTech made out in the comment. He's talked about he's I think, if I'm not mistaken, he said he is not an optic snob, but yet he goes out and makes a statement that says you don't need a light when you're running thermal. That sounds kind of snobby to me.
I am a thermal snob. I'm not an optic snob. I'm a thermal snob.
That sounds snobby.
There's a difference. There's a difference. It's a different category. It's a different category.
It looks like Mike jumped in. We got our good buddy Mike Woodland from MW Tactical. He's over in Tennessee getting some training in. He was able to jump in. What's going on, Mike?
Yeah, not too much. Doing some homework. I'm getting ready for a presentation tomorrow. So right now, I figured I'd just jump on for a little bit while I take a little break to let my mind roam free for a little bit.
Yeah, are those crickets in the background? Is that what that is?
Man, I don't know what's down here in Tennessee. I think I'm in Jurassic World or something. Man, it's going crazy down here.
Hear ya. People were talking about the stream lights and all that, and as far as the stream light, a lot of my EDC light right now is a stream light. It's the MicroStream USB, and basically you just pull that out, charge it up, and it's got low and it's got high and it's got different stream light you can't go wrong with. Any kind of their lights, their customer service is phenomenal. So anytime that you are able to get a stream light, I do recommend that. I've got several stream lights and I've never had a problem with any of them. If there is a problem with them, get a hold of them. They will take care of you. They will send you a new one and all that. So I can't stress enough that Streamlight is in fact one of the best light makers out there. Let's go through the room. Let's go through the panel, the chat real quick. You're talking about bandwidth out there. Brent Winkle says the J5 Hyper-V is a good budget light off Amazon for a non-attached light. I have no idea. I've never heard of that. But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on Amazon you can find for a good price. I'm not going to lie. I see I got one in here. I think I probably do if I had to bet. Well, crap. Maybe not. Actually, all around my house, just to have them out there, I've got these little $1 lights that you can get. LED lights. They're about 3 inches long. They cost $1 at Walmart. I've got them stationed all over the house for different stuff. So I mean, I'm not a snob for anything. I could really care less. I'm looking for something that's quality. That no matter if I'm talking optics, if I'm talking hand guards, if I'm talking drop-in triggers, anything like that, I'm looking for something that works the way I want it to work. It seems to be decent quality, and I'm going to try to save as much money as I can. Now, obviously, I'm not going to save as much money as I can to the fact that it's not going to work. If my life is dependent upon this stuff, then I want it to work. But if I can spend $100 on something instead of $400 or $200 instead of $700, I'm sure as hell going to do that as long as it does what it's supposed to do and is a quality enough to where I feel like I can trust it in the worst scenario possible. Snob out there says that he loves his MicroStream USB, but it's kind of a pain to put it on high mode. Yeah, you have to, for the high mode, you got to do it like real quick. I mean, it's like that's like low mode. You got to do it like there's high mode, but you got to do it like real fast, and it is kind of a pain in the butt. I wish they might fix that. I'm sure the 2.0 will probably they will probably have that. Now, Sean's in here and might have a question about something that I have personally never had any experience with, but some of you guys might. Sean, do you want to bring up the 3D question for me? And you're muted again. Oh, Sean. All right, Sean might be away.
If he doesn't want to talk about it, I'd be happy to talk about it.
Well, he was just going to bring up some stuff on the 3D printing. And I don't want to go too far this rabbit hole. We're about 15 minutes from getting out of here. But yeah, Jeff, if you want to talk.
Hold on. Am I here?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. What question about 3D printing did you have? Because Jeff is pretty familiar with it. He might be able to help you out.
Well, and actually, mine was more. I know there's a lot. They're not the built for the long haul. That's not something you're replacing your regular piece with. But I was wondering, I thought a lot of you guys, at least if I understand it correctly, have got some military or law background, or at least connections. And, you know, here in the last couple of days, the government had decided that they were going to allow the wide open release of these blueprints. And then, of course, as of today, I believe it was a Seattle federal judge that has gone ahead and tried to put a hold on this. And I was just wondering what you guys thought, not from a utilitarian standpoint of it being a quality firearm, but what you guys thought about the accessibility to the 3D printing gun world.
Yeah, so, Jeff, you want to start out?
Yeah, man, I do. So I'm big in, you know, constitutional perspective on how things work. And if you look at the and I'm in technology too, so I work in IT. But if you look at the like you mentioned, the long-term viability of that kind of gun, I mean, you can get a piece of galvanized pipe and a shotgun shell and make something that's more lethal than these plastic guns that you're spitting out of these 3D printers. They're not durable, they don't hold up, and it's a scare tactic that you see the senators out of Washington are using to appease the, you know, moms demand action crowd, and they really don't have any long-term viability. And that's not to say that later on maybe the polymers aren't going to get better and the durability of these guns couldn't get better, but right now it's just not there. And also those plans have been out. I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but those plans have been out when they first came out. I think it's Defense Distributed or something like that. They put those out before the State Department made them take them down. So they're everywhere right now. I have a copy of those plans from 2 years ago. The gun is really hokey and it's kind of chintzy, and I don't really see it being the big boogeyman that these federal politicians are making it out to be.
Yeah, and on top of maybe the quality not being necessarily the greatest right now, technology will catch up. It's also, I mean, people don't realize that it's crazy expensive to get a 3D printer or get involved in the 3D printing side unless you have a buddy that has one that doesn't mind using his materials or whatever. But it's not like you can just go and find it at Best Buy, a 3D printer. So the cost effectiveness is probably not there yet as well. But, you know, we talked about this maybe on Daily Gun Show or something. We brought this up about the 3D printing thing. And I think that there are probably accessories and different things, you know, foregrips, something like that, maybe some different kind of handrails or something like that, where I think the 3D printing side could be really cool and innovative and all that. But as far as the base structure of any firearm, I would be skeptical at best right now until maybe it kind of gets a couple years down the road and gets more popular and more designs out there, better materials used. I don't have any experience in it, so I might be talking out of my ass. Any guys have any thoughts on the 3D printing side of things?
Well, I was just to be clear, this was really just from a legal standpoint, from a constitutional standpoint, because certainly, like, other than, I believe, like you could make, I think, a pretty decent AR lower that would withstand a little bit of time. But I'm not really. I understand that the technology isn't quite there to do something in a long range, and there's also some kooky laws where you cannot manufacture parts for other people. You can only do it for yourself. Now I can sell you my printer for $1. You know, there's all those ways to get around it. But I'm really talking about what do you guys think as gun advocates about the power, giving the people the power to be able to produce their own unregistered weapons?
The power's already there, man.
We've already had that. There's people that I mean, you can literally walk into any hardware store in the United States and for $20 or less get the stuff and build a slam fire shotgun. Like right now, you can go do that.
You can get an 80% lower and some drill bits and butcher it up, but you could probably get it working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's not
we're
any,
talking about a functional firearm. We're not talking pretty. We're not talking something you want to put on the shelf. But we're talking a functional firearm.
Well, DT on the gun channel side, he said, you know, it's legal to make your own personal firearm. You just can't sell it without the proper licenses. And he says, if that's legal, then what difference does it make? You know, what you use to create it, or you know, what difference does it make?
Yeah, the legality side of it is I have absolutely no problem with 3D printing. I just have not had any experience with it. And but like I said, I mean, I think that if it's available and it's something that you personally want to do, we have a guy, Sean, that's over on GunChannels named Big Gunner 81, and he's a huge AR guy, and he 3D prints a ton of stuff. So I can put you in touch with him, and he'd be a really good guy. He does 3D printing like every day. He does all sorts of stuff. So I can put you in touch with him, and he'd probably give you his background and his thoughts on the 3D printing side as well, because he'd be a really good one to talk to.
Well, and you can buy metals every day of the week, and you can buy used, you know, mills and lathes and stuff like that every day of the week, probably for cheaper than you can buy a really nice 3D printer, and you can make a real metallic firearm. I mean, it was going to take the time and the knowledge and all of that good stuff to do it, but you can do it.
I think one of the big complaints in this whole process is if you watch these national politicians talking about the serialization and the you know, these ghost guns, I think is a term that's getting used a lot lately. Yeah. It's the loss of the ability to manage and monitor the people, and that's where I think they're getting, you know, the politicians are using fear to try to persuade some kind of registration.
But you've got that already. I mean, how many guns and crimes are discovered that the serial numbers are ground off, or you know, something like that, and then there's no way to trace that firearm because the serial numbers are ground off.
Oh, dude, I'm not for serial numbers on guns at all. I mean, that's a registration.
Well, it's true, and people don't realize that that's serial numbers on a firearm. While they were prevalent, you know, 100+ years ago, they were prevalent for companies being able to track production and for those means. It wasn't for the government's use. Right. That came about in '68. So it's not been too terribly long ago that even one having a serial number was even considered an issue.
Well, it was started being required in '68, but it has never been scrutinized, as far as I'm aware, to validate whether or not it's been effective or if it's still even necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I don't think there is an argument to someone could legitimately come and say it's necessary.
Because what happens? Let me put it to you this way: what happens when you've got all of these old collector, you know, rifles and/or shotguns and pistols, whatever, revolvers, whatever it is, right? And then we get to a day and age where they go, oh, well, everything has to have a serial number. You have to be able to go put a serial number on it. And you've got some old antique, you know, something worth potentially hundreds or thousands of dollars, and now you've got to go molest it by putting a serial number on it. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and Midnight Range and Guns and Glory out there talking criminals. They're not printing guns. They're just rolling off the serial number. I want to take something that Midnight Range out there says, because I don't know if I can quite understand what he was trying to say. He said that Yankee had a good point. I want to stop him right there. I don't think that Yankee ever has any good points. So that must be a lie in itself. No, I'm just joking. No, there's whole sorts of stuff that you can do to, you know, if you want to do 3D printing, that's great. If you, like I said, for me, I'm not into it, but I'm also not going to go spend the money on a 3D printer. That's just me. I don't know any one person that has a 3D printer, so something like that. Now, if I wanted to create some kind of a cool, like I said, a foregrip, or you know, maybe a magazine or something like that, that's a whole different story. But that's just me. I'm not, you know.
Here's where it gets into a situation to where, okay, you go out, you think, okay, well, this is a cool thought, and all these plans are out there now, you know, and so I'm gonna go. I've got some extra cash lying around. Cool. I'm gonna go spend X number of thousands of dollars, whatever it is, on a nice 3D printer. Okay, done. Okay, you go home. You start downloading these plans. You start making these firearms. You start playing with them. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. Then you get into a situation, okay, like they're talking about, to where, okay, maybe you're going to start, selling them out on the street or something like that. Well, you've already broken an existing law at that point. So why do we need another law to counter an existing law? It makes no sense.
It seems like it's trying to be a restriction and an inhibition on innovation, because I can't think of any other move in technology where they said, oh, except for this. Like when we had the computer boom or whatever, the internet age, I don't think it was a big, oh, except for this. So it's given government a new type of control over something that they're creating. This is something that didn't exist. If you look at every single firearms invention that's ever happened, it's pretty much dudes just either sitting there with some files and metal, like Clover was talking about. Sometimes they had machines and they invented the machines to make the guns. But there's dozens that I'm aware of, and I'm no expert, of firearms inventors who figured it out, like in jail on pieces of cardboard. One guy was blind. So to suggest that you're going to stop the invention of firearms is silly. To suggest that just because they're coming out of a 3D printer, they're more deadly or something is silly, because like Clover said, you can literally just shoplift stuff in a hardware store and then get your hand on some shotgun shells. And as long as you got the right pipes that are the same size as the shotgun shell, you can walk out of a store with the parts to make a little shotgun in your pocket. So if people wanted to do that, it would happen. This is a perception, or just literally just an agenda gone wild, and they're trying to engineer a perception so that they can create registration or regulation on this new aspect of, well, innovation, because a 3D printer wasn't created to do firearms, and that's not all it can do. And silly to think that someone who's a inventor or clever is going to stop with firearms. Almost all of our inventions come from clever people, and a lot of them created firearms along the way. So why would we want to stifle people that are going to be creative with 3D printers?
Well, and we're talking about, I mean, I wonder, I don't remember because I was young and don't remember, but I would like to hear what people were talking about when the polymer handguns started coming out and being more prevalent. When you're talking about being able to take a mold and cast it and mass produce these handguns much, much quicker. Once again, we're talking about the ignorance of a government that doesn't know what they're talking about. They think a 3D printer, well, they can literally make a gun that's unserialized. Well, they don't have a clue as to what goes into making a firearm. So you can make certain parts of a firearm, but you cannot make a firearm strictly out of a 3D printer. So, once again, it's the ignorance of government. I think you're right, G. It's something they don't know, they don't understand. It's what scares them. And on top of that, it might be something they just throw in and say, well, let's kind of nip this in the bud before it becomes the thing. And so, yeah, the 3D, like I said, for me, it's not a big deal. I don't have any anticipation of working with 3D printing, but I have absolutely no problem. Like I said, there are certain things that I think would be cool to be able to do. Some kind of accessories, rail accessories that you could add on to something. Awesome. But do what you got to do. But I think that for the government going after these 3D printed, quote unquote, ghost guns or whatever you want to call them, it doesn't make any sense to me because they just don't understand. You cannot make a firearm out of a 3D printer. You can make certain pieces and parts of one, but you cannot manufacture a firearm through a 3D printer. It's ignorance. It's stupidity that they're even thinking about this. But what I want to do real quick is kind of shut it down. It's been an hour and a half. I've already corked Night Strike long enough. We still got a good crowd out there. So while we're doing that, I do want to discuss something that's happening next week. Next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, it'll be my 52nd episode of Tactical Tuesday. I have missed a couple weeks in the last year or so because of SHOT Show and different things that I was doing. But as far as episodes, this will be the 1 year, quote-unquote, episode of Tactical Tuesday. It was confirmed at about 4:30, 5 o'clock this afternoon that we will have a special guest on, and it is James Yeager. Yeager will be on the show. It has been confirmed. He will be on the show next Tuesday. So come on out and watch that one. Should be an interesting show. We're going to ask some interesting questions to him, find out what he's been doing, what's going on in his world. And I'm sure there will be some interesting questions and comments made in the chat. So don't miss that. We will have Jaeger here live. I wouldn't say in studio, but we'll have him live in the room next Tuesday for the 52nd episode, which we're going to call the year episode. So next week is also August 6th, which will be the day before Tactical Tuesday. But August 6th next week is my 1-year anniversary on GunChannels as well. So we will be doing some GunChannels related theme stuff as well. So I want to say thanks to G and everyone over at GunChannels for the last year. It's been a phenomenal year. I really love the community. I've made some of the best friends that I have in life right now. I've actually never met, and it's through GunChannels because the gun community is such a strong. Obviously, I've known Sean since forever. He's definitely the person I've known longest that's in this room. But some of my better friends that I've made recently are on GunChannels. So what I want to do real quick is while people are still out there, I will. I'm going to run through the room real quick and let everyone kind of talk about their channel, plug whatever they got going on. Sean, you're running for Congress. I want to start out with you. Once again, this is Sean Jones. He's out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He lives in Plano, I believe, but I think your district is what, Duncanville area? Is that am I mistaken about that? And you're muted. Let me unmute you. You are muted if you're still there, Sean.
There I am.
There you go.
I don't know what my.
It's Duncanville, right? Is that the area?
It would be downtown. It would be what is Uptown didn't even exist when you were here, but Uptown Dallas, all the way down to the Dallas County border, which is DeSoto, Duncanville area.
Okay, so are we talking like Deep Ellum area, or?
Yeah, Deep Ellum is in there. Fair Park is in there. The Medical District, Uptown, and then all the lower economic Southeast Dallas areas.
Do you want to plug a Facebook page or a website or anything like that for people that live in that area that might be listening? I can personally vouch that Sean is a terrible person and you should never vote for him. No, I'm just kidding. He's one of my oldest in the world. He's running the Libertarian Party. So if you guys are in the Dallas area, Sean, what kind of a Facebook page or website you want to plug?
Facebook is Sean Jones for Congress. I got SeanJonesForCongress.com.
That's SHAWN, not SEAN, by the way.
Correct.
Guys.
It's the correct way to spell it. I will say I'm I'm not a politician. I am an activist. I do a lot of jury nullification outreach, trying to get rid of victimless crimes. I am also committed to not taking a paycheck, and I have found a way to voluntarily fund the $1.35 million that Congress is allowed to take to operate their offices annually. That's right. Each congressperson has $1.35 million in operating cost for their office. I have found a way to voluntarily fund that and do that for, I think I can get it all done and pay my bills for about $400,000 a year. So I'm assuming that I can do everything the government can do better at about 35 cents on the dollar, which seems about reasonable.
Yeah. I put your Facebook link out there, and one of my mods, Rupan, put your website on there. So, guys,
and for the gun guys, I am probably going to be the strongest advocate of truly constitutional gun laws of anybody you would see in DC. Our right to carry and protect ourselves. The Constitution doesn't guarantee that. It only reiterates our rights as human beings to protect and defend our person and our property by any means necessary. So I will take the Constitution a step further on that one.
There you go. Well, bro, it's really having you back on the show. When I was in Dallas, the NRA show, and I think schedules kind of just worked out where we couldn't see each other, but it's been a while, but we need to catch up. And anytime you want to come on, bro, you just send me a text and I'll get you on anytime you want, especially with the election cycle coming up in November. Let me know. We can get you on as much as you want. So appreciate you coming on. I hope we kind of answered what you were wanting to know about the 3D printing thing. If not, like I said, I can get you in touch with a bunch of people that are much more versed in the 3D printing side than I am.
Well, and like I said, this was about seeing what people's feelings were about it. I already know the technology is not really there. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Right.
You know, you're not winning a revolution with a 3D printing army. But I was curious to know what
Santa Claus 2 will say that because he built a Santa army with a 3D printer. So,
well,
just saying.
I could be wrong, but I wanted to know what the gun experts think about the. I'm not sure where everybody feels on regulations, laws, serial numbers, accessibility, things like that. So that was a lot of my question, was just how you guys feel about the access to the information and technology.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, if you have any more questions, let me know, and I can get you in touch with the people that would be able to probably answer stuff like that a lot more, because I have zero experience with it. But brother, thanks for coming on, bro. It's always nice talking.
Thank you.
And like I said, if you ever went on again, shoot me a text. We'll get you on, bro. Okay.
Absolutely.
Steve, what you got going on at Mr. Big Kid's channel? Go ahead and plug away, man.
Man, I've been doing so bad at trying to get some stuff uploaded. It's been a very busy week. I'm actually between job changes right now, but I have not forgotten about you guys, and I've got some good things planned up. I want to give a little shout out to Clover, actually, and I think you were on that live stream as well, but about the monetization episode that he had on his channel. I watched it and it gave me some really great ideas. So I went ahead and created a Patreon channel, however you want to pronounce it. So, you know, in time, I'm not at that point yet, but eventually I'd like to, you know, just keep pushing forward, you know, with this little dream I got going on. So it's been fun. Thanks for having me on, and I will get you guys a few videos this week.
Awesome. Yeah. If you guys aren't subbed, go check out the channel. It's Mr. Big Kid. I did a shout out Sunday video a couple Sundays ago. Shout out some channels that I found. Not saying that I found them or anything like that, but I stumbled across them. Really like their content. Let's help them out. Go sub their channels if you like them. Their content's really, really cool. The other one in the room that was on that was Jeff Tack, which is GEOFF. But Jeff, you got anything to plug you want to talk about right now?
Yeah, man. Just wanted to thank you again. I appreciate you letting me come on here and, you know, share some of my thoughts.
Anytime. Let me know. Anytime.
I appreciate that. I also, you know, I've been in the community, man. I'm 47 now, so probably almost 30 years. You know, back in the days when the computer world just started, you know, getting on the old forums and, you know, threads, trying to find people to talk about this kind of stuff and just learn from each other. Everything I've learned from, you know, other people. So just giving back to the gun community. You know, my YouTube channel isn't monetized. I don't have the people for it, you know, the subscribers. So I put my content out everywhere I can. I put it out on BitChute is one. The vlogs is one. I try to shoot. Yeah, BitChute.
BitChute.
Yeah. I also I have Instagram. You know, I keep that going pretty well, and I just created another Facebook page so I can, you know, just communicate with people about gun stuff. Keep it off my personal page.
Let me kind of give you a couple other channels or other platforms that you might want to look into that are fastly growing. You've got GunTube.org. That was created by one of our GunChannels brothers, Night Strike. That's, you know, 100% guns all the time, anytime. GunTube.org. Then there are two platforms that have come on late, and I can sit there and say that me and G and Clover have direct. I mean, they've been on our shows before. We've talked to them all the time. GunStreamer.com. GunStreamer is the real deal. I'm not saying that GunTube and UGEtube and all them aren't, but for my money right now, UGEtube has a legitimate shot of changing firearm social media. They're putting all their efforts behind the creators.
GunStreamer.
Yeah, GunStreamer. Go, and it's free to. It's just like YouTube and all that. They can pull over every single video, excuse me, of yours over to GunStreamer from YouTube and save it on their servers in like 20 minutes. So go check out GunStreamer.com. There's a really, really fast growing community over there.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
Exchange.
Yeah, I think the only thing with me putting my content out is trying to keep it out there where you're going to get the casual viewer. I know these other sites are out there, the Full 30 and all these. I get what they're doing, and I respect what they're doing, and I even have channels over there. But I just think that it's a very single-threaded audience, and that's really that doesn't
chamber for sure. The greatest thing about these platforms, though, you obviously need to go where the crowds are to get your message out there. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of that stuff, Twitter, and all that. But there are going to be some types of videos down the road that you might want to do that necessarily meet the criteria set aside from YouTube to be what they want. So these are the platforms that you can go do reloading videos. You can actually show the assembly of an AR-15 on GunStreamer that you can't do on YouTube. So if you're interested in doing that, just letting you know that there are other platforms out there that might be able to maybe expand the type of videos that you're doing out there.
Right on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, bro. What's this rumor about Daily Gun Show that I hear?
Yeah, we're changing the format up, but I want to plug Sean again. I want to just say thanks. I don't know you, but I really appreciate somebody that's willing to put their time and their life. I mean, they're putting a lot of time and your life, your future, basically, line to participate in this thing that most people throw up their hands and say, it's horrible. There's nothing you can do. Well, you can do something, and it's what you're doing. So thanks much for going out and doing it as a libertarian. That's awesome. And thanks for coming on the show and showing interest in it. Like Ghost said, if you have any questions at all, get with him, and we'll find people to be resources for you. Thanks much for doing it.
Much appreciated.
GunChannels is we've got, people over there that are crazy knowledgeable in literally every aspect of the firearm community. So I can put you in touch with whoever you need to that will be able to give you some really good insight. But
activists too. We like to feet on the ground if we can, and help with efforts and getting word out and give us some perspective. So yeah, consider us a resource. But again, just thanks for doing it, because I'm sure you get people that say thanks that have their hand out for something. I don't want nothing from you. I don't live in Texas. I'm just glad to know that a real person's putting their hand in the game, getting filled in.
And he is a real person. He was one of my best friends back in the old high school days. So he's not a robot. He's a real person. Clover, what you got going on? You've got 11,000 different shows going on now a week. What do you got going on?
I forget. It's hard to keep track sometimes.
Yeah.
I do got an announcement. I don't know if this has happened on everybody's channel or if I'm just seeing it, but now I'm actually getting notifications when people comment on my stuff. It's wonderful.
Yes. In the last about 48 hours, I started getting that stuff.
So we don't ever. It's always hashtag YouTube sucks, but I'm gonna say thank you, YouTube. Finally, you freaking fixed something. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what they broke in the process. But
that's what I'm saying. Is just because they fixed something doesn't mean that something else is.
Yeah, I'm sure they broke 3 other things fixing it, but at least we've got that back.
Broke Hangouts. You can't turn your damn cameras on.
Well, I've got some inside baseball potentially on that. We can talk off air or something.
No, who's got notifications? GunTube. You just added notifications.
Right there, you go.
He did.
So,
a couple days ago.
Yeah, tomorrow the shooter spotlight continues with youth shooter Alora Mayberry. So check that one out. Those have been really fun. Do what?
Where's she from?
She's from here. South part of Texas. Yeah.
Right on. Yep. Well, yeah, go check out tomorrow's show on Clover. It's called The Next Generation, and he started a series up a few weeks ago talking about youth shooters and that are involved. I didn't say any shooters because you might have an archery person coming up, but for right now, it's youth shooters that are involved in competition. And it's a great series. We've had Ryan on, we've had Mia on, I think you've had 3 weeks already, if I'm not mistaken. So this might be week 4 of the series, but
Ryan.
It's phenomenal. So that's 7 Central tomorrow night over on Clover Tax Channel. Guys, I hate to say this. I've quirked the hell out of him. I'm sure that he's still going on. Go check out Hit or Miss. On YouTube, it's Night Strike 1. On GunChannels, it's Hit or Miss channel. Night Strike and Squib and all those guys, Sandy, and I think, there's probably others over there. Go check out Hit or Miss. I apologize for quirking you. This conversation went on longer than I anticipated, but I thought it went really, really well, and I think it was important information. So I apologize to Night Strike. But thank you for everybody that has watched. Thank you for if you're watching in replay. Please leave your comments down below. Let us know what you do to modify or what accessories you like to customize your AR with. If you have any questions regarding ARs, put them in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If not, it is what it is. For those of you, we had a lot of newcomers tonight to the show. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait for next week. It is not only the 52nd episode of it, but I've got James Yeager will be joining us live on the show, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you to all my panelists. I know that MW Tactical was here. He had to leave. Scotsman had to leave. I think that's the only ones that had to leave. But thank you for everyone out here, and I appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you get out there and shoot, get to the range, take someone with you. If you're interested in becoming a part of the community, turn your camera on. Don't worry about video quality. Don't worry about audio quality. Don't worry about how many people are going to watch it. I think I had 1 or 2 people watch my very first thing, and I was so scared until you get better. But be part of the community. We need, especially with midterm elections coming up, we need to make sure that our voice is heard. The gun community will not go away silently. And the more voices that we have that are willing to turn their cameras on and talk about guns, the more that the other side, and more importantly, the undecided about guns, know that we're just normal people that just happen to like our guns, respect our guns, utilize our guns for constitutional reasons. We are law-abiding citizens. We just want to defend ourselves and our family and our loved ones and our property this way that they know that we are normal, everyday citizens. So please turn the cameras on. Be part of the community. If you need any help, please contact any of us on this panel, any of us in this chat. There is a large amount of people that are willing to help you in any way possible to become part of the community. So thank you guys for watching. As always, we will see you next week. Semper Fi.